My name is Zahraa Darwich, pronounced Zahra in Arabic. I attend Wayne State University's DPC program. I decided to go to Wayne State University after a kind of long path, right? I was going to go to Columbia or Washington University. I was going between those top two. And then when I got into Wayne State, it's local. I'm at home. And ultimately, I'm a family person. So I think that having a support system and having that comfort is really important through a difficult program. So that's ultimately what made me, decide to stay home and go to Wayne State. So as it came to applying to DPT school, I feel like I was a little bit more on the overly cautious side. So I applied to 13 programs, and as all of you know, applications are a handful. So I would say have more faith in yourself than you think you do, because as much as you think that you're not good enough, that you really are. And so it's just putting your all into an application, or four at least, just so you have a good backup plan. Having confidence in yourself is like really important, because otherwise, you're just going to blend into the rest of the crowd. Being able to speak confidently and to reflect what you feel into the paper and into your personal statements and all that stuff, that's important. Just having a story behind what you do and why you're doing it. Yeah, I went to physical therapy as a kid, and I was in a pediatric gym for a physical medicine rehabilitation appointment. And I walked through the peds clinic, and I saw a baby in a helmet working with a pediatric physical therapist. I don't know why it hit me though. Like at that point, I was 13, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've always known I want to help people. I've always known that I wanted to do it through medicine. I just didn't know where. So finding out that, we can do both of those things, in a physical manner is like super cool. Having those different types of people and like being the person that's not only helping in a medical way, but also building a relationship. I think that's what is really, really different about physical therapy compared to any other healthcare profession, is that like you have a longer route with a patient. You're able to just develop more of a relationship. And I think I'm a relationships person. So I that's kind of what drew me to physical therapy. Considering we are week 4 of our first year of our doctoral program, it's been a handful, let's just say that. So it's been extremely overwhelming, but it's been manageable. I feel like the hardest part right now is finding a routine that works, finding a good work-life balance, but also prioritizing classes above other class. It's a lot to adjust to, but the professors know that. They know that this is an adjustment period for like all of us, and there's a huge feeling of an imposter syndrome, and everybody will say that during their first year. Overwhelming is a good word for it to begin with, but there have been some extremely great times. Literally our first week of classes, we jumped right into palpations. We were working on each other and just feeling different structures and whatnot. So that was super cool, and that was like, holy crap, like I'm here. It's like all of what I've been working for, it's finally here. What surprised me, honestly, I knew I was going to have cadaver labs. I knew I was. I did not know I was going to have them 2 times a week. So I've been in a cadaver lab 2 times a week, looking at a cadaver. It surprised me because I knew it was going to happen. I didn't know how much it was going to happen. That's a good surprise, because it's like that you learn like looking at the human body right in front of you. So when I first started, I thought I wanted to work with kids just because I love kids. But I have had some experience in peds clinics, and I think that is a very, very specific specialty. It's a very emotionally and physically exhausting place, and so I'm not entirely sure if that's where I'm going to be. But I also know that I worked in an outpatient ortho clinic, and I loved it. And we've had some athletes come in, and that's probably where I'm going to end up, just because of my past as well, like being an athlete, and knowing what it takes from a physical therapist side. So it's like being able to like challenge an athlete through physical therapy, it's something that's a little bit more specific, obviously, because we're not going to do the basic long arc quads and all the other exercises like that. Honestly, I was surprised when I first day of classes or orientation or whatever, and I went in and I saw that there were 3 other Arab American students. I have a little community inside of the cohort. That's nice to have that element of comfort, but I think that other than that, there's not a lot of diversity in the group in a lot of regards, religiously, um ethnically, I don't know, all of the above. So, that was a little bit of a shocker just because I didn't know, because Wayne State and all the other programs are super big on diversity and equity and inclusion and all of those things. If you're considering physical therapy, you have a reason for it. Uh, so I think run with it. I think that it's an amazing field. I think it's not going anywhere. I think that the demand and the appreciation is only coming up. So I love it. It was always like when you're finding out what you want to do with school and whatnot, the people who are close to you will see you light up. And if you light up, then run. Just go with it, because that shows you that you're truly passionate and that you are excited. And when you're excited for something, it makes it everything worth it. It makes the whole program, it makes all the stress, it makes the financial parts of schooling, it's all worth it because you'll be happy in the end. So that's what's important. I found out about Rising Tides Crest Scholarship Program from the school, actually, and it was like 2 days before the deadline of the actual scholarship, deadline. So the director of the program sent it to us and was like, if you are part of the minority groups, go ahead and apply to this scholarship if you'd like. And so I was looking into it and I was like, oh, just another scholarship, until I actually pulled up the website and I was like, this is not another scholarship. And this is what I said during my interview, was that this is a community, and having a community, that's huge. So that's kind of how I found out about this scholarship and decided to pursue it. In the Rising Tide interview process, it was an interesting thing, because you can talk about diversity and you can talk about how you're a minority, but it's when you talk to other people who are, minorities and who are, diverse in the workplace or in life in general, it's almost like it's like empowering. Like, I'm not the only one. So it's just, again, having a sense of community, not necessarily community because they're Arab American Muslim women, but because I'm not the only minority in the field. It was an empowering thing because it says that you're not alone. Everybody has challenges because of where they came from or who they are, what they look like, or what they have on their heads. And because of that, it was like I got this. We got this. I think that there are many ways that I, as a future physical therapist, will want to impact the field of physical therapy or healthcare in general. I think that there are multiple ways that I want to do it, one of them being educating. There are reasons why people don't go to physical therapy, and it might be financial reasons, it might be insurance, it might be transportation. Those are all hard things that we all want to work towards fixing. But I think that one big thing that is challenging for a lot of people is just not knowing. So I think that educating people, and it might be that after somebody gives birth, you can do pelvic floor PT. And, that's like, a lot of people didn't know that. I didn't know that. Educating people and in that regard, are like just talking to schools and saying, hey, like, if you're having a negative pain, it's normal until it's not. I think that that is one of the biggest things that I want to bring to the world. Even if it's just in the small ways of talking to people and then people talk to other people. But I think that educating and informing people is a huge way that I can help.